Everyone. Here with Sean. We're doing a video on the pickle flavor this video. Sean, first things first, how are you?
Good, Jason. How are you?
I'm good. No
Yeah.
complaints. Birthday around the corner, but
Nice. What are you going to be, 17?
Come on, I have facial hair. At least 20. No, but 26.
26. All right. You're a
But,
baby.
yeah, going into it though. So, I mean, let's talk. So, pickle flavored ice cream. I mean, let's kick things off. I mean, the very first question is, when people think ice cream, they don't think pickles. So, tell me, what's the thought process at Nightfood?
Well, when people think ice cream, they don't think pickles, I guess. But when they think pregnancy, they certainly do think. They think pickles and they think ice cream. So those are the two most iconic pregnancy cravings. And we wanted to bring them together, not necessarily because we thought it would be the most amazing ice cream flavor that would be a big hit with consumers necessarily. And we'll see. I think there's going to be a lot of people that love it. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people that don't love it. And there's going to be a lot of people that won't even try it. So it's kind of off the normal spectrum of flavors. But the point is, that's exactly why we're doing it, because that characteristic of it is going to make it really interesting for the media, interesting for the individual consumers, interesting for them to share on social media. And that's really what we're doing here. We want to create buzz around the association between Nightfood ice cream and pregnancy. And this for us is a great way. We've already got major media confirmations from some major magazines and other interest from major websites. So we think that we're going to really do what we wanted to do, which is not necessarily to develop our newest, most popular flavor, but a flavor that's going to generate a ton of buzz within, especially that pregnancy community and pregnancy age woman.
Yeah, it'll definitely make you stand out, which I think is obviously half the battle you guys are trying to do, and I think that's awesome. Do you want to touch on, obviously you guys did a survey seeing if people would like to try pickle flavored ice cream. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Well, yeah, I mean, so it's not people. The survey was pregnant women. So it's a subset of, not to say that they're not people, but we didn't just ask anybody, right? We asked pregnant women, and I don't remember what the exact results were, but I think it was about 20% of the women said, oh, baby, yes. That was we had 4 different answers, and the first one was, oh, baby, yes. And I think about 25% of the people, 25% of the women said probably. And then whatever's left, I think about 55% of the people were equally split between probably not and I don't know we had a funny answer for definitely not. So there's a lot of people that just think it's, not at all something that they'd be interested in. But again, we think that's what's going to give it the conversational appeal, if not the appetite appeal that we're looking for.
Yeah, no, the marketing approach, and I think that's a fantastic way to go about it. Obviously, if you're already getting media that wants to cover it, and it'll be interesting to find out. But I think that's amazing that obviously you guys are trying to go a little bit out of right field, not too crazy, but obviously keeping it on pregnancy. And I think this is going to push you guys to that next level.
Yeah, well, we want to let the media do a lot of the heavy lifting for us, and we want to let also the women, the pregnant women that get to try the ice cream, do a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of communicating it out to their networks and to other pregnant women. So, it's a great vehicle. If you want to be, if you want people to talk about you, you have to do interesting things, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, well, sounds good. I think this is kind of, good enough about the pickle flavor, unless there's anything you want to touch on. Have some other questions on flavors, but is there anything else you want to touch on regarding the pickle flavor?
Not really. What were the other questions you had?
Yeah, so what I think would be interesting, obviously pickles seems like a pretty crazy one, but I would love to talk about, maybe some of the other crazy flavors that have been discussed, and either you've, looked into them or just heard through the pipeline and you just laugh and then throw them to the side. I think it would be interesting for people to know, and I'm sure you guys have talked about hundreds of flavors, but do you want to mention some of the funny ones?
I don't remember, Jason, any of them. We've gotten flavor recommendations of things that I didn't even know what they were, and I had to Google, like, what is that? I don't know if consumers, when they send these things in, if they really think about the concept of commercializing a product and trying to meet the consumer where the demand might be. And certainly, if you've got a scoop shop, it's easy to just, do a crazy flavor and make 3 or 5 gallons of it and see if people like it. We don't have that business model. So when we commercialize a flavor, it's got to have a commercial purpose for us. You look at the 8 flavors that we manufactured originally, and they were all, we had very little leeway in terms of, you can't discretionarily decide, at least I don't think, if you're going to make a mainstream ice cream line, you can't decide you're not going to do vanilla, or you're not going to do chocolate, or you're not going to do cookies and dreams. You're not going to do coffee. So these are mint chip. These are the top flavors. And it's funny, mint chip actually turned out to be my favorite flavor. I never ate mint chip ice cream before I was at the lab, and I fell in love with it. And it's actually my number one Nightfood flavor. So, but there's flavors that you have to do. And then we got to the point where, once we checked off, I feel like there's 6 pretty much that you have to do. It's vanilla, chocolate, decaf, coffee, I guess, mint chip, cookie dough, and cookies and cream, right? So those 6, it's almost like you have to do them. Leaving one of them out is leaving out a favorite of the market. And then we felt like, okay, well, we had on the list something fruity was like the 7th thing on the list. And we didn't know what that was going to be. We were thinking strawberry. I don't remember how we landed on cherry eclipse. And then even then we were thinking about putting pie crust in there, calling it cherry pie or something like that. And just the idea of, Ben & Jerry's Cherry Garcia is such an iconic flavor. It's such a great flavor. And what we wanted to do was kind of do our own version of that. So we were faced with a decision at the end of the development process, actually before the development process, so this is more of a marketing decision, is what flavors are you going to develop? So we had something fruity was on the list, and then we had something breakfasty, which was on the list. And we thought that would be something we really needed to do, again, because we thought it would be a good flavor, but we also felt like it would give more curiosity to the brand. And so that obviously turned out to be bed and breakfast, which a lot of people, it's their favorite on the whole line. It's maple ice cream with chunks of waffle pieces in there. And we were really torn. I remember being on the phone with one of our advisors, and we originally were thinking we were going to make 7 flavors. And we were trying to decide, and I was on the phone with one of our advisors, Doran Stern, who's the former VP of marketing for Chobani. And I was trying to decide, because I felt we didn't want to delete any of those original 6 that I mentioned. And then we felt we needed something fruity, but we also wanted to have this breakfasty flavor. And so we wanted to make 7 flavors, and this was the 8th. And so the question I was asking was the wrong question, which is, which flavor do we cut? And after about, a few minutes, Doran said to me, why can't we make 8 flavors? And I was like, whoa. And he said, what's the incremental cost, of making the 8th flavor? And I did the math, and it's really, between the packaging and everything else and a minimum run of production, it's probably under $20,000. And of course, it's inventory that's going to sell. You're not just throwing $20,000 away. It's inventory. And it turned out that for so many people, bed and breakfast, like I said, is their favorite flavor. Chris Santos, world famous chef that's on our team, it's his favorite. And I think also Michael Clifford from 5 Seconds of Summer. We were working with him on a custom flavor that hasn't come out yet. That was Michael and his fiance's favorite flavor was bed and breakfast, and for a lot of people it is. So we wanted it because we thought it would just be a more interesting flavor. So there's different reasons when we come. So now, if we could have come out with 12 or 15 flavors, we would have been able to get into the point where we could have made some more decisions and had a little bit more fun. We do have more flavors that we've developed already that I can't wait to get to market. Just great flavors with awesome names, really sleep friendly and fun. And hopefully if things go well and sales keep picking up and everything else, and we're talking to some major retailers right now, it's a super exciting time. Maybe we'll be able to after Pickle, which is going to be our 9th, and that's running in a few weeks, maybe into the spring as we're going onto shelves in some of these national, hopefully retailers, maybe there'll be another flavor or two introduced into the mix.
Yeah. Oh, I was just a short little Google of some of the crazy flavors that are out there just to give people a taste.
Well,
I
there's
saw you just laugh. I saw bacon, which I thought was extremely weird.
yeah,
Licorice, which I mean, hey, I guess 1 out of 100 people you see them eating some licorice, but okay, kind of weird. Cheese, I thought was incredibly weird. And then I saw apple and like apple pie, which I guess is a little bit less weird.
yeah.
But
It's funny because if you go into these scoop shops, you can get all kinds of flavors. And I remember a cartoon from it's got to be 35, 40 years ago. My brother and I still laugh about it all the time. There was this old comic strip called Herman. I don't know. I gotta Google it and see if people could still find it. But it's got a picture of a guy, and he's standing in this ice cream shop, and he's eating the ice cream. One of these Sunday comics, right?
Yeah.
And he's eating this ice cream, and the ice cream has like hair coming out of it and stuff like that. And the guy licks it, and he says to the guy behind the counter, right? The customer says to the guy behind the counter, he says, "This is the worst tasting vanilla ice cream I ever had." And the guy behind the counter said, "Vanilla? I thought you ordered Gorilla." So he served some gorilla flavored ice cream. So there's a lot of weird flavors out there. There's a brand that I saw, they were doing a bone marrow. I don't remember what it was called, a bone marrow flavor. Obviously you're mentioning bacon. So savory and pickles, I guess, would fall into that salty. But, there are some more savory type offerings out there. I don't know how long and how far down the production cycle we would be before we ever got to try to commercialize something like that. Maybe as a goof or a PR play like we do with the pickles. But, I see us knocking off the iconic, popular, traditional ice cream flavors just in a sleep-friendly way, one at a time as we continue to grow.